You sending him for coffee?
My husband was all hacking and coughing.
Ten o'clock on my watch here. We shall go ahead and get started. Call this meeting to order. We do have a quorum today, by the way. Are there any public comments? Anybody signed up? Okay. That brings us right to item number 3 then. Presentation by Train Technologies and possible action regarding the HVAC system at the North Annex. And Matt, you want to kind of kick that off?
Well, we'd asked them last time they was here to put some numbers together and stuff, and that's what they've got, so we'll let y'all
All
have
right.
at it.
Then who would like to speak first? Hello.
That would be me,
Okay, and
Brandy Hawkins.
okay, thank you.
Yes, I'm your account manager. I've been working with Matt and Rick and Gary since August.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you the client agreement that we have come with the scope and everything on it. This is just a scope as of right now. I'll introduce Mr. Keenan here in just a little bit to talk further. But we are going to, I just want to pass this out so everybody has a copy, something to look at. It'll also be up on the board as well.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
Thank you. And for the packet, yeah. Thank you.
I did 12. I just guesstimate. Did I do good or not? Yes, no? Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Just want to kind of run back through the timeline. I talked with Gary in August, and we came up and we did a little assessment, walked through, and he kind of gave a brief of what was entailed for the future. Bob and I came back and we met with Rick as well, walked through the actual building, just did some things we did since our workshop December 4th. You have asked us to put together a scope of an analysis of the building itself, of what our team could do, an edited analysis to improve the building itself, not just HVAC. And so that is why we're here today. We've ran through, that's just kind of the timeline. Does anybody have any questions, or did I miss anything on that? We're all on the same page of events. Mr. Keenan here, he is the lead team member for the energy services, comprehensive solutions within Train. And he is here today to provide you the scope, the detailed scope. And that's right now, if we could just focus on the detailed scope of what they found when we came. There'll be pricing at the end, we'll talk about that, but I just want to make sure everybody's okay with just looking at the scope and making sure we're all on the same page. Mr. Keenan?
Good morning, my name is Bill Keenan. I'm with Train. I am the pre-construction team leader for our project development group. We cover the state of Texas, and now with recent additions, we cover all the way over to Pensacola, Florida. So we appreciate the time you've given us today to discuss this. And this is an interesting situation. It's kind of like one of those situations where you go on Zillow and you find a house, and all the other houses are $130 a square feet. You find one that's $40 a square foot, right? And then you got to figure out if you can make it work for less than $140 a square feet. So what we did was go through, sent two of our team members up here, and they did a quick walkthrough of the building and identified what they saw as some of your major hurdles to being able to utilize the building. One of our struggles, I'll just be candid with you, is understanding what your intent is in the use of the building, right? So that would drive some of the behaviors or some of the renovations that are required. Our initial review, we would say that the basement area is probably not currently safe for occupancy. And so some real modifications would be required there to make sure you have proper egress and exit. So, as Train, we automatically go and look at the HVAC stuff first, right? That's our easy button, right? In this case, I'd probably advocate against HVAC being one of the first things that you deal with. And I say that in the context of, I think that the building itself has numerous elevational differences inside the building, which is going to create difficulties for your ADA compliance and things of that nature. And so at some level, understanding how you intend to use the building plays into that ADA compliance piece of it. So our approach to this agreement was simply to provide you with a line item list of issues that we identified during the study and try and put some budget dollars to that so that you would have some sense of, ADA compliance is going to be, pick a number at this point, $100,000, right? And elevator modifications is going to be X, whatever the numbers turn out to be, and give that to you as the work product for this agreement. And then at that point, the responsibility come back to you to look at that and decide if you have anything that is actionable for you to move forward on the next step. And candidly, I think you're in a difficult spot with the facility. It's a great looking facility, but I think you're in a difficult spot trying to figure out what its end use should be. And that end use will drive what you want to do inside the facility. There's always, when we work with municipalities and governmental entities, sometimes they want to save money by using, convict laborers, the only way I can describe it at this point, to go in there and do things, and that's a possibility. My experience with that is it generally doesn't deliver to you what you need in the long run, and you'll end up paying to rectify things that they did because they didn't understand the mission. So that's just on the table there. We would be looking to go through there and identify this list, provide you with a list of things, including the HVAC, the electrical, the ADA compliance issues, elevators. We have not been given a document or a report on the potential for ACM or other lead-based paint or other things like that may have to be remedied as part of a retrofit scenario. So we would be looking at either asking you guys to provide that information if you have it, or trying to find a resource to do some testing for us during this study to give you some feedback there. Our end game is candidly not just to do the study. Obviously, we'd like to get a project out of the deal, to kind of show you what the market's doing today. I got an email this morning of 2 $5 million jobs that need to be developed in Texas here. And so, obviously, for us, we'd like to get an agreement for some sort of turnkey installation activity coming out of the development study. And so that's our end game. Our study efforts are not profitable for us. So we use those as an opportunity to get the turnkey agreement on the back end. And happy to take questions. If you got questions, we can run through the slides and talk about the slides. The reason we ask for the energy bills is, so let's say you have a county jail or something, sometimes we can find savings there that would help offset the cost of your efforts on the courthouse building. You can go to the other day, it looks like. Or not. Just yeah. So, our approach is to be consultative. So meaning we go out, we do some legwork, we come back and report and tell you where we're at, what we're doing. Some of our budgets will probably use RS means type numbers, and then, fluff those up a little bit, because RS means is always behind the curve. And you've seen that probably where you get an AE firm do a design budget, give you the budget, and then by the time they get the documents done, you go out for pricing, and it comes in over top of your original budget, right? And so, and that's kind of what a lot of the AE firms use. We'll also have some subcontractor specialty subs engaged to look at some of the things that are a little more complex. Like if the elevator is one of those items that we're concerned about, then we'd probably have an elevator vendor come in and look at that and give us a real idea of what it's going to cost, whether the hoistway is going to have to be modified or something like that. At that point, you're going to get a laundry list of items, and you can come back and tell us, we don't want to do anything. That's your prerogative. Or you can tell us, hey, after looking at it, we'd like to do item 3 and 7, right? Whatever 3 and 7 happens to be on the list. And then we would go out and get firm pricing for you to tighten those numbers up and come back to you and report that with an agreement to execute the work. So is any of that connecting or not connecting, or?
What's it gonna cost? I'm sorry. What's it gonna cost to generate this list?
I think we had this thing set up at $39,000, I think. I've looked at several of these.
And would this be something similar to what we would ask an architect to do? or engineering, well.
Yeah, you could go,
start-
you could go to an AE firm and have them do the same thing. It was my understanding y'all had already done that and had a couple of outputs from that in previous scenarios, prior years.
That was all pre-purchase stuff, I think. I don't think since we've actually purchased it, there's been any architectural assessment on it. You guys know something I don't know?
I think what we had originally talked about in our first workshop, the difference in our approach and how we would typically go about it, you'll get an ADA firm to develop the whole project, and there it is, and then you have to accumulate these prices to ultimately get a project complete. What our approach is like Bill said, there are different areas that if you know you want to do the whole thing, then what we have listed in our scope would be the 39,000. If you say there's certain portions of that list that we can go through line item by line item today if we need to, and we don't really think we want to do that, then we'll modify that pricing accordingly. But it is set up in sections where there's certain things that, for instance, if there's ADA compliance, if there's lead-based paint, if there's asbestos, if those things in the building, the electrical infrastructure, those things are outside the scope of what we talked about initially was HVAC. But obviously, if you want to occupy a building, you have to address those items. So whether it's our expertise or you hire your own and do it a piece at a time, the advantage for us is our group's used to working with those subs, qualified subs, delivering the whole product ultimately in the end, which an AE firm would still hand it off to a general contractor, he's going to hand it off to multiple contractors. So it still can reside in our expertise and one person to hold responsible for the overall project. It's just put together in pieces, and like Bill said, it's consultative. We visit with you constantly throughout that process and decide which things you want to do, and they'll be developed all the way down to including stamped drawings. With 39,000, like Bill said, we put the whole project together and put all that together. If you ultimately decide to move forward with the project, you do not get a bill for that detailed study. But we're trying to cover our costs to bring in those experts to finalize the pricing for them. If you elect to move forward, the cost for that detailed study, which includes design, which includes putting together a scope detailed enough to get firm pricing, then that's just rolled into the cost of the overall project.
I understand all that, but I thought we were going to, some of what y'all are going to bring us is an analysis on our existing units and what we needed to do to upgrade them. I know we don't have a floor plan yet, and that's something that we're going to work on, so we know all that. And I know that when we do have a floor plan, we'll have some ducting and issues, but I thought we were going to talk about the existing units that we had right now and what it was going to take to get them where they weren't 50 years old. You know, that's where I thought we were going. I didn't know we were going to be talking about elevation and ADA and all this stuff that you're talking about. That's where I am. I don't know if anybody else agrees with that.
Yeah.
It's a whole different, you're talking about, you're right, you're ahead of the game on that. We're not there yet. We don't have a floor plan. In this court, we're going to get together and we're going to figure that out, but like, we're not there yet. So I thought we were going to talk about our existing roof units and air valves and all the stuff that's junky on that to
Which
figure
I
out
think
what that's
most
going
of
to
that's
cost us.
I'm sorry?
I think most of that's gonna be, from what I understood, done away with. So you gotta have some kind of plan as to where they can, I mean, we can sit here and go in circles all day long
100%.
until we
Yeah.
gotta give them some direction. I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean,
And to your point, the HVAC system is toast. Okay, it's toast. So, you know, it's pretty much a tear out and redo. And so I've already stated here that I don't think that's your first objective, right?
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I understand
So, I'm being
exactly.
honest
We're
with
just,
you there.
I thought that we were
Yeah.
maybe going to have a little bit of an idea on, you know, what those units were going to cost, and then, you know, then we can go to our floor plan and be part of, hey, we're going to know we're going to spend, you know, whatever
Yeah,
the number
so-
is, you know,
And I apologize.
5,000 or 500,000, but.
Yeah, and I apologize to you because what I thought you needed was kind of a comprehensive picture of all your stuff that needed to be addressed. Not in great detail, but a laundry list of things to give you an order of magnitude of the hill you're trying to climb, right? And the HVAC system is obviously one part of that. And I've already stated, I don't think that's the first thing you need to fix. But,
Right.
But that's why our approach was to say, hey, I think you need a roadmap to where you can say, okay, these are all the things these people found, and this is their approximate budgets. Where would we start this process, right? And so I apologize if we haven't met your expectations, but I thought we were trying to help you get an order of magnitude.
It's not that, and I'm very direct when I speak, so don't think I'm like mad or anything. It's just, you're right. We'll get the cart. We got the cart before the horse on this. That's why I thought we were going to be talking about the units more themselves, because regardless of what floor plan we put in, you know, we have those
Right.
units, and that's how it's going to be
Well,
done.
that still can be addressed. like we
Right.
said.
I think our plan in the building is going to be very simple. You know, we're not adding, we're going to just change a few things. We're going to work with what we've got, you know, to spend as little money as we can. So it's not like we're going to go in there and completely change the whole landscape and rooms and, you know, everything. It'd be,
If you just wanted pricing on just HVA infrastructure, we can give you that. But like we mentioned before, that's major components and major distribution, air distribution, or whichever direction you choose, that's all you get for that. That doesn't say that, oh, by the way, after the fact, there's asbestos all over this thing, and that's completely exceeded our budget for HVAC. What do?
yeah.
The idea was we could give you enough of a picture to see all the components of it that would allow you to make some decisions. And if in that phase one is HVAC, a basic infrastructure to get where you've got the capacity to do whatever you're eventually going to do, then that's available to you. But we've got to have electrical infrastructure to support that.
Yeah, and I understand
All you
that.
got to price is HVAC.
Yeah, I understand. I guess, and I'm just speaking for me, but I guess I just don't associate train with doing those things that you're
Right.
talking about. So I'm
That's
glad
a
that you
very
do, but
fair
I didn't
statement.
even, I wouldn't have ever associated that. I figured we
Right.
could get an engineer
Very
in
fair.
here and electric companies, and we'll work through all those steps, but, you know.
And so to your point there, how do I say this? We're across the nation, we're probably doing 400 million a year in turnkey type work. In Texas, we'll probably do, or our region, we'll probably do somewhere between 70 and 100 million in our region of turnkey type projects. Design, build, turnkey, you know, and so to your point, you're absolutely correct. You would not know without us talking to you about it.
Right.
So, and that's what we do. So, you know, we may be doing a bond program for a school district, and we may have 24 schools that we're replacing the RTUs or split systems or the boilers and the chillers, $20 or $30 million worth of work that we put together, we assemble. We partner with an AE firm that we're comfortable with, that goes to market with us the same way we go to market, right?
What's an AE firm?
Architectural engineering,
Okay.
I apologize. Yeah,
Well, I thought.
so.
Traditionally, a lot of our customers just see us as an OEM, an original equipment manufacturer, much like Ford and General Motors, and it is a huge part of our business. We
Yes.
function in it every day. We work with architects and engineers to get the capacity design for the eventual use, which type of system, most efficient, all those things. We do that every day. But we also, like Bill said, and like we're talking about here, we function very similar to a general contractor. Hiring that same expertise that you would hire on your own, but this allows you to do other things, but still a very consultative approach, and you end up with a stamped drawing from an engineering company of your choice or one that we can pick, because we're not going to pick any contractors because we aren't assured they're going to deliver the perfect results that we're going to see for. So that's the way I would think you would need to view us. Like Bill said, we're a general contractor. Pick and piece the items that you feel comfortable with us doing, get you one step down the road, spending what is viable for completing that step and look at the results along the way. Or pay somebody to design the whole thing and go, oh my gosh, how are we going to do that? That's a ton of money. how do we get started?
Right.
The choice
Makes
is
sense, yeah.
yours.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah, and so one of the struggles that the typical delivery system, which is design, bid, build, right? That's the typical model that's in the, what do you say, governmental marketplace, right? And so to do the design, you have to know what you want, right? So then if you don't know what you want and you do the design, then you're going to have to redo the design. And you're going to pay for all of that up front, right? And then you're going to go bid it, and then you're going to get the numbers back in. Chances are the bids are going to come in higher than what they told you it was, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not bashing that process. It's just you have to have a very solid definition at day one to take the first step so that you know that the outcome you're going to get on the back end aligns with your original objectives. And you guys know that you put projects together that had infrastructure, drainage projects, that kind of stuff, and that's the process that you normally go through. And you've had them come in over budget, under budget, but I've never seen a budget yet that was right.
Right.
Ultimate solution's either going to be above it or below it. So we try to be conservative when we give out those budgets because we don't know when you might execute, right? So it may be a year, it may be this year, it may be 26. So we try to give you some room to work through that.
As the general contractors, you serve that role. Do you guys ever entertain the construction manager at risk program?
CMAR, we don't necessarily structure it that way because as the turnkey, so we would be your responsible party. Okay, so that means that we are the one throat to choke in the contractual chain. Is that answering your question? Or were you looking for
With this, I'm assuming a huge part of this will be HVAC. It'll be a huge chunk of it. And are there any, because we should be improving efficiency, is there any grant monies out there or anything we can take advantage of to offset any cost?
I don't know of any grant money that's out there. I was just doing a grant for a CTE center, but I don't know of any grants on efficiency side. And part of that's because they've just changed all of the refrigerants. You know, as part of the EPA regs, they've just changed all the refrigerants to R454 on most of your DX equipment now. And so in some cases, we still don't have our pricing in place for the equipment. That's how new it is. So, but I have concerns, and I don't think the gentleman I sent out here actually looked at the main electrical service. I have concerns there because I got feedback that indicated that some of the sub-tier panels were Federal Pacific, which is discontinued. And so if your main gear is in that realm, then that's another huge hit from a budget perspective. But that would be part of what we would vet out for you to tell you, hey, this is kind of what you're looking at. Am I helping you or?
I don't,
Am I not answering your questions? Or?
no, I think you're answering our questions.
Any other questions?
We need a
or-
floor plan. We need an idea.
Yeah, we need to do our workshop and get our floor plan. That's where we need to be. And then,
And I think it's a tough situation because, you know, we joke about the chicken and the egg, right? Which comes first? We know from a biblical perspective it was the chicken, but you're always in that conundrum of what goes first, right? And if you have departments that you plan to move, then that would be a place to start with how to contemplate a floor plan. And you may be in a situation where you only choose to occupy the not the basement, but the first floor, ground level. You may be in a position where you can only occupy that one first. and that way you stage out your time frame over a longer period till you figure out what you want to do on the second floor. Right? So, a lot of variables. Not sure I'm helping you.
I don't know at this point.
Right.
Got to, like I said, we need to go work on our floor plan. That way, when you guys, if we choose to do this, y'all are working with, we're doing something other than rock management. Hey, draw us up a rock, and that's wrong color, wrong size. We need to
And
tell you guys.
our desire is to partner with you to do the work, right? So if the question is whether you want to do this agreement, I would tell you, don't do it if you're not ready.
Yeah.
I don't want the agreement, and then we get into a quagmire trying to figure out where we're trying to go.
Yeah, and I think that we need to hold off on this. I don't disagree with as written. I mean, it's a simple matter of changing the date, isn't it?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so,
And keep in mind, this document may not reflect what you intended. It kind of reflects what I thought you needed to get a roadmap to make a decision, right? And so, if I've missed the mark there, you just tell me straight up, it's okay, right?
And I would say too, if you want to look through the agreement, see some things based on who you have a feel to move in initially for a phase one, we can modify that pricing to support what items you've chosen. It doesn't have to be an all or none, but realize if you exclude some things, there may be some things that could affect
Me.
the project if you don't.
It's the same thing we just had.
is that what you just handed us, Brandy?
It's different.
Yes, it just has the actual price on it, the financial on it.
Oh, okay, but it doesn't have, yeah.
Yeah, it has the same stuff, it just has the financials.
Okay. Uh, As far as I'm concerned, you gave us more than we anticipated. And I don't disagree with the concept at all. I mean, assuming you guys can do the AE, the service of general, and do turnkey, and we end up with engineering drawings and stuff of that nature. My knee jerk is you guys may want to do more than what we're going to want to do. Well, I mean, we want to be safe, we want to be able to occupy it, we want to meet codes, okay? But,
I mean, I think our perspective is, from there, we're keenly interested in the life safety issues as a first and foremost. And so that's why I'm saying, I think the HVAC can wait, till you get to that point. And then the configuration of the HVAC can be realigned based on your use, based on the floor plan you're occupying. If you choose not to occupy the second floor, then we don't need to put the HVAC in the second floor. That type of flexibility is part of the process. So,
Bill, I don't want to put you on the spot, but as far as, Bill has a lot of experience in the general contractor world before he came to training. But there's some certain things, like you said, life safety, and some of those items, not detail or whatever, would put you, again, I won't put you on the spot, but are 4 or 5, 2 or 3, that you could say, I'd look at this first as a phase one, and then if you guys can agree to do then that portion, we can give you the price associated with that phase.
I don't want to go there.
Okay?
that's okay. Yeah, that's okay.
I mean, court may want, but at this point, no. We need to come up with what we want, what we need, and then re-engage you guys. So,
Yeah, that's,
And, to your point, I mean, I don't want you to feel like we didn't deliver what you were expecting. I mean, I can go back to my team based on CFM and give you some quick and dirty gross numbers on the HVAC system, right? And it'll be gross, right? But
I think what we were
That's-
anticipating initially, we were trying to have some ballpark figure what it's going to cost us to do the renovations necessary to occupy it. And in our minds, one of those things was HVAC, and we'd kind of get a breakdown of the varying cost. And what you're highlighting and rightfully so, I don't have a problem with it, is far beyond that. So, I mean, I have people in this room that say, sell the building, we're done. Okay?
That's
And that might not, I mean, we could spend another $2 million on the building and have it for $150 a square foot. You can't build that kind of building for $150 a square foot.
Right.
But, again,
And I think that's a fair question to ask, right? And about whether, and that's why I thought I was helping you by giving you some sense of what that ROM roadmap looked like for you, on a bigger picture than just the HVAC.
yeah.
And I wasn't trying to meddle in your
No, I
business
mean-
as much as provide you information to help you
Yeah.
picture this thing.
I still think that we bought the building at bargain prices, and I don't know if another $2 million gets us where we want to be. But if, like I said, we spend another $2 million, what's construction now cost for a building like that if you build it new?
The people that moved out of it spent $450 a foot on their new building.
Yeah, so we're still in at $150 a square foot. So, I mean, we're gonna probably get a huge response of naysayers based on these comments. Okay? I mean, that's just, does that make it right? No, because everybody doesn't understand the big picture.
Yeah, and I think, when you think about how organizations make decisions, one of those is the sunk cost theory of critical decision making. And basically you have a sunk cost now. The question is, can I do something with that to extricate and get some benefit? Because my perception, and I don't run a county like you guys do, but my perception is the dollars that you spend on that building are dollars you're going to not spend on drainage projects or water projects or something else in the county, roads, bridges, something else, right?
The pie's only so big, and
Yes, sir.
in a county our size, we're not, filthy rich.
Yeah.
But the 39,000 might be a great expense, because we go hire an architect, he's going to charge us $200,000 or $300,000 probably.
Yes, sir.
I mean, putting it all in perspective.
Yes, sir.
So the 39 may be, that may be the way to go. But I sense that it's probably going to be a larger scope. Some of it we probably want to reduce, just not having seen it and digested it. But, just the way it's presented today, it sounds like we're talking a, multi-million-dollar project. And if it's a multi-million-dollar project, then we may regroup.
Well, and to your point, our goal was to try and lay that out for you so you could see it based on what we knew about the building, what we saw during the study. And then you would have a better sense of the ADA requirements are going to be, pick a number, 150,000. I don't know what that number is, but, we're just throwing numbers out. And the elevator is going to be another 150 or whatever those numbers are, right?
If we were going to have done that, we would have been better off to try to come in here and have that itemized and say, hey, this is what we see. We think it's going to be 1.7 or 4.5. Right now, it's so broad, all it's going to do is attract negative publicity.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate them
No.
wanting this stuff out, because a lot of companies would have come in and said, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do this, 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 and this. At the end of the day, it's not what we needed. I mean,
Well,
at least they're being straight with us and telling us.
And we may need to spend the 39,000. I mean, we're not going to get it assessed any cheaper if we go with an architect. So we might want to enter into the agreement and let them move forward. I mean, and then if
At some point, we're going to have to.
I mean, if it costs more money, in other words, once they lay it out, we'll at least have some estimate of the total cost, right? We enter into this agreement, you do the assessment, we'll have some estimate of the total cost.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I think that's the deliverable out of the agreement is we basically chase the rabbits down to figure out what we think you got to do in the building to get it done, get it upgraded. And then we give you the list that says elevator upgrades are going to be budgeted somewhere here. ADA compliance is gonna take you here, exiting, HVAC, electrical service, ACM remediation, you know, that kind of stuff, lead-based paint remediation.
So that would give us some broad estimate of what it's gonna cost.
Yeah,
And-
I apologize, I probably didn't explain it very
Well,
well to you.
and my direction would be, if we ask them to do this, I guess you come up with the scope, and then that's when we decide, hey, this is what we want to do, this is what we don't want to do, because we're concerned about safety.
And the other part is, we're just gonna give you a list, right? And you can say, okay, Train, I think we would like to do the ADA upgrades first, right? And then
Why do we gotta do the ADA upgrades? I mean,
Well, if we exceed, well, then they should know these numbers, but I'm assuming, based on what he's telling us, we could spend up $50,000 without having to address ADA, and where he's, what
But
he's.
AC don't count towards that.
That's right.
Yeah, so,
For every amount over 50, we have to spend 10% towards ADA.
Right.
so.
I mean, in the elevators, we keep saying elevators, they're all inspected and passed inspection, they're up to code. I mean, why would we do something with the elevators?
We may not need to.
See, that's the kind of stuff I'm headed, we outlined a bunch of stuff and put some thoughts out there, and basically said it's unsafe. It's a huge deal if that building's unsafe not to occupy.
You didn't say it was unsafe, you just said to inspect it. It don't, I mean, I don't know.
So, but,
Sooner or later, we gotta address all this stuff. I mean, I know y'all don't wanna do the ADA, but at some point, it's gonna have to happen.
no, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with all, it needs to meet code, it needs to meet safety, I mean, those things.
Yeah.
But we don't need to build Taj Mahal.
Right, and
We need to meet the requirements.
Yes, sir.
And not be off beyond it, looking for problems. I mean, if we don't have a problem, let's not look for one.
yeah, and so if you have documentation that said the elevators are compliant, then,
All we can tell you is we get them, they've been inspected, and they pass inspection. So,
If you got local code officials, they can be a part of the process, obviously. The good news is, like elevator, that's eliminated, so you don't have to discuss something that you may or may not need to do, it validates all that. So the completion of that audit tells you as the decision group, these are the things we're gonna have to do. And then if you're questioned by your constituents as to why, these are the things that are required for us to occupy that building, and we have validated that, not a bunch of stuff that you may or may not have to do.
right, and what people need to understand is if we dispose of this building, it's gonna cost us $25-30 million to go build something equivalent. That's what people don't get, $3 million or $30 million, you know, and 2 years versus, you know, there ain't anybody on this court gonna go out and promote a bond and try to sell a bond. And so the whole deal is to consolidate several of these old buildings we've got scattered around the courthouse. But we need to, and I want to be just as transparent as we can be. I mean, obviously, but like I said, 39,000 may get us some idea what it's going to cost us, and then you can make a decision whether or not you want to sell it or fix it. But
Should they have a floor plan before, a proposed idea before we?
I think we should do that.
yeah, I
That's
think
my
that.
thought.
Yeah, I don't, you know, I wouldn't want them to bid something to run ductwork to one part of the building and not be the intended use.
any other questions for me?
I think so.
Again, it sounds like it's, simple may not be the right word, but just a matter of changing the date if we enter into this. And the price may change a little bit, I guess, could if we dally too long.
Yeah. I mean, from Train's perspective, you know, I've harped on life safety. Train's got pretty deep pockets, so they're always on the hook. So that's a risk mitigation for them, is to make sure that we don't walk away from a project that puts us at risk down the road.
We're not
Absolutely.
gonna leave a building unsafe for anybody else. I don't,
No, no.
you're talking to our constituents on camera right now. We're not either,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
No, and I'm not
That's our prime
insinuating
concern too, but like,
Yeah.
we're just, we gotta go to the drawing board. We're
Yeah.
just, we
Okay.
got the cart
Yeah, but,
way out in front of the horse.
I appreciate your time today. I apologize that I didn't deliver what you expected.
no, that's not it at all. I don't,
No,
there's-
you
don't
did, I think you gave everybody a really good idea of what we're facing here, and I think from what you told us today, we can proceed on and get the things that you need, and we all need jointly to
And-
proceed on with this one way or another.
And I think that using y'all
Very valuable.
in this next step to do these things,
That's probably.
that number is really good. I know we spent on another project to do the same thing, so I mean, I think,
I mean, if we
you know,
got-
that's a very good thing. We just need to give y'all something to have to move forward with that.
Okay. We appreciate your time.
No, hey, thank you.
Would it be fair, to be in agreement, to give y'all time to figure out kind of what direction you wanna go in? And then we can look at this scope and tweak it, or however you'd like to. This would be the 39,000, would be the absolute overall project. And if you don't wanna spend that, you only wanna do a little bit here and there, we can meet again and get you another number on that assessment. Would that be fair?
You're saying after we have an idea, yeah, I mean, I think that would
Yeah, and
probably be where we're headed.
Yeah, I think that's, yeah, I think we get together and say, hey, this is what we think the footprint's gonna be,
Yeah.
okay?
And then let y'all run
And then
with
bring
that.
you guys back in. We'll take this scope and say, hey, we think with you guys' help as to, again, we don't want to violate any codes. We want to meet all the safety requirements and all those things. And say, okay, if we do items 4, 5, 6, and 8, okay?
Would that be?
Yeah, and will that meet the requirements for us to occupy the building?
Are you good with that, Mr. King?
Yeah, I think 39,000, you're trying to pare down 39,000, so there's not a lot of being on there, so.
Yeah, but if we pared down the things out of the 39 that we would choose not to do, then that would reduce the cost of the overall project. The $39,000, I don't think Brandy's the issue.
This gives you a guideline on how you want to move forward.
Absolutely,
So it's
yeah.
just a matter of y'all meeting
Yeah.
and being on the same page and having a game plan.
Yeah, no, it's all good. No, thank you, really. I do appreciate it,
Thank you
guys.
for your time.
And,
Thank y'all.
yeah, and
This agenda,
did it even allow us to take an action?
well, I wish we'd have put in it, discuss more about the annex.
Yeah, and gone ahead and created a workshop out of it.
I think, and I'm a big believer in workshops.
Well, no, I am too, but I wish that we could sit here and talk about it more.
Well, it says possible take action on it.
Well, but it's about the train thing. It's not about talking about the,
The HVA system.
we can't talk about the floor plan or what we want to do with it.
I think what we need to do is just go ahead and set a day next week for a workshop.
I'm ready.
Okay?
Yeah, y'all pick a day. We can do it. Not Thursday.
I'll say next Tuesday. What do you guys got going Tuesday?
I'm open, and we can do in the same workshop, we can discuss the Freeport exemption a little bit too.
Yep.
If y'all do a workshop, y'all can't take action, so it's gonna need to be a special court.
Well, I don't think they're ready to take action
But even if
anyway.
y'all
No, we
say-
are.
No, it's a workshop.
We
Y'all
want,
can't wait one more week, because I'm at conference and I'm shorthanded in my office.
Say that again?
I'm at conference and I'm shorthanded in my office. I mean, we'll make it work if we have to. I just thought it would 1 week
But
make
if it's a
big
workshop,
deal.
do
I
y'all,
have-
do
I still
y'all,
have
You
to
don't have to
record
be
it.
here, Pam.
I still have to record it,
you have to record a workshop?
Anybody can
and I
work.
have to take minutes.
Nobody can record it for you.
I'm just saying I'm really short in my
Oh,
office.
oh,
I've got one in the
well-
hospital. She could do it.
Yeah, that's what,
but if y'all say, I wanna have
you're still gonna be here next Tuesday,
this
aren't you?
office in that building, that's taking action. So y'all can't do it in a workshop if y'all
No,
wanna say.
but if we do a workshop, we could bring it back in the next commissioner's court then for
For action.
action.
That's true.
Yeah.
And
can't
I would make
limit
it that we can make it a walking workshop, so we can go over there and look at stuff.
I agree.
I mean, we did that on the Crest building the last time.
Just take minutes and put, we.
Very similar project.
Very simple.
Yep.
Let's record that.
Walking workshop
And then
next
bring back and
Tuesday.
take action on that.
And then if necessary, if we're ready after that, we can come back the next court to discuss and possible take action.
Right. I just didn't want y'all to not be able to take action if we called it a workshop and it needed to be.
Well, I don't think we're gonna be ready by next Tuesday to take action anyway, but I could be surprised, but probably after a workshop, I think
Take
we'll
action.
have a
Put it
pretty
on
good
the next
idea.
agenda.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. Okay, so is that, everybody in agreement with that, a walking workshop next Tuesday, and
What time?
you're gonna be Pam next Tuesday then? You still gonna be here next Tuesday?
Of course.
Okay, thank you.
What time?
What time would you like to have it?
Whatever your heart desires.
10's always good.
10.
Well, I'll tell you what, supervisor like that is
That's the
impossible to get, just whatever your heart desires, I'll tell you. It's amazing. Everybody okay with this then? Okay.
You
Let's
gonna be
go.
around, Rick?
I'm sorry.
You be around next Tuesday?
Yeah. Christian, you gonna be here next
We won't have
Tuesday?
to record
You
that.
won't need to.
Well, I mean, that's right, you won't have to. Never mind. You can attend anyway if you want to, though. Well, okay then. Item number 3 is no action other than to schedule a workshop. I guess that would be the action that, if we need to do that.
We need to, we run through bills?
Yeah, well, yeah, we haven't gotten to it yet.
Oh, okay. Well,
Where'd
I'm
Gary
just-
run off to?
Do what?
So where'd Gary run off to?
He's talking to Rand from,
Oh,
Good.
a little sketch up, thing that I sent to y'all, is that beneficial to y'all at all? You know what I'm talking about?
I'd say bring anything you got.
Well, I mean, to me, the benefit of that is, and I'm not trying to make it
Right.
work for myself, the benefit is, we can set the TV or with the drawings or whatever, so.
Yeah.
Wall, we look like a little wall right there, I
Just-
can put it there.
That's right.
Let's do it.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
To help design.
I'd say bring it. Okay. So is that going to be an action, or I don't think so. So we'll just go with no action on item number 3. Item number 4 is to deliberate and consider possible action regarding the payment of monthly bills.
Move to approve.
Okay.
Second?
Third. We'll wait till Gary gets back if you want to.
For bills?
Well, just to make it, okay,
I
it's,
heard 2 seconds, which
it
one?
passes 4,
Who, I heard 2 seconds at the same time.
this is a motion.
Yeah, I got it.
This is a second, and the motion passes 4 to 1 absent. That'll work. All right, item number 5, Jason.
Motion to adjourn. Do we need to make an official vote on that thing?
What, on 4?
Just put 1
We did.
absent. I'll put
Okay.
Gary absent. Yes.
We did. Okay, item number 5. Commissioner Snuggs makes the motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Hart. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Same thing. 4 to 1 absent. Passes.
At what time?
And it passed at 10:52.